Hello, class. Virtual Reinhardt here with a quick video going through one more way to control the flow of a program, one more command in your if statements. And I wanted to highlight the parts that are most important when you're reading through and completing the activities in this part of the book. So we have gone through the fact that you could do an if-else statement in your code where only one of those two, it's like an either-or situation, will execute, but it'll always be one of them. But what if you have more than two possibilities? You have three or more possibilities. There's a command in Java called an else if that you can use. The idea is the same. So if you get the else statement, you'll grasp on to the else if statement pretty quickly. So here is a look at the general code snippet of how else ifs look in Java. And that is, if a Boolean expression is true, this will execute. And you know that well. If it is not true, it's going to check this Boolean expression. Okay, that one is going to as an else if, another condition. Okay, if that one's true, that statement will execute. Okay, whatever those statement or statements are, that's just a general sort of placeholder. If neither of those Boolean expressions are true, neither of them, this block will execute. That is else if. The other part's exactly the same. The only new part is right here. And you can have as many else ifs as you want. And here's the most important thing. In this block of code, okay, only one of the branches, only one of those will execute. So let's look at an example. For instance, if I have the value x equals 2 and I have this if statement, then another else if statement, then another else. Again, before I even look at what the solution is or what will be displayed, we should recognize that only one of those three statements will display to the screen. Okay, it's either going to be x is negative, x is 0, or x is positive. And then this statement, line 18, will display to the screen regardless of what happens above it. So if I run it, you might know what's going to display already. If I run it, since x is 2, it will display to the screen x is positive because x is greater than 2. And let's just follow through or trace the code. X is less than 0, false, because x is 2. Okay, 2 is not less than 0. Is 2 equals 0? Not true. That's false. So that statement will be skipped. So that just leaves us to the else. Okay, with the else, x is positive, so we know that's the statement that's going to execute. Again, only one of them can execute. So that's why it says x is positive, and then this is the after conditional code. If I change that situation, okay, so that x is, why don't we just say -1, okay, and run it. Let's see what happens. That's going to be true right away. So it's going to display x is negative, which it does down here. And then the important thing to know is it's done. These are all tied together. It's not going to even check this. It's not going to even look at that because it already found a true branch, a true way to go. So it's all skipped and it just jumps right down to the after conditional part. A similar thing is if I set x to 0, okay, and run it, it's going to try this. False is 0. X is 0. 0 is not less than 0. So that statement right here is false. So it's skipped. It checks here. That is true. 0 equals 0. So it does this statement and skips the else. So that means that x is 0 is printed out. So that is generally how an else if works. And if you scroll down to other examples, and go through those questions, you'll get that. But you can also see you can have multiple else ifs. Okay, not just one. So, if, else if, and then finally, if none of those end up being true, the else will be the one that happens. So again, even in all of this code, only one of those system.out.println commands will execute. And even here, right, this is a classic example, a grading scale. You can only get one grade. So this is the piece of code that you need to edit to make sure that happens. The best way to do this is with else if, because if I run this right now, you're going to get if the score was 93, 93 should be an A. But look what happens. 93 is greater than 90, greater than or equal to 90, so it's an A, but then it goes down here. Then it becomes a B because this was not skipped, because it's not an else if. Then it was a C, okay? And then finally, it was a D. So I'm getting an incorrect answer here because I did not use else ifs, okay? Else ifs, remember, allow you to skip once you reach a true. So that is the else ifs. Complete the sections. Remember, you can skip the activity right here, 3.4.1. Skip that. Go right to the questions after you've completed those activities.